Good morning or good afternoon. I'm Kais Morgan and I'm hoping to be one of the chapter officers for next year. So I'm going to be doing this video by myself, so I will be asking the questions out loud. Tell us a little bit about yourself. And I have the computer, just so you guys know, I have the computer right behind. If I look up, that's to read the questions. But tell us a little bit about yourself. Well, I have been in FFA for 2 years now, and I've been in football for 2 years. I played basketball last year, but it wasn't really one of my things anymore, and I decided to get more involved in other things, mostly FFA. I love to do stuff. One of the best things I describe myself, just to throw people off, is I like to do stuff that might end up getting me hurt. And for example, my grandma dared me to go snowboarding, and I now been snowboarding for 5 years because I broke my arm skiing. But I like to go out there. I like to try and put myself like out there where everyone can see. And yeah, I like to try new things. What is your greatest strength? My greatest strength is, my greatest strength would have to be how whenever I get put into a rough situation, I I overthink it until I'm in the situation, if that makes sense. As soon as I have been like, I've thought about things and how I would handle them, and as soon as I'm actually put in the situation, nothing I thought about happens, and I actually handle it a lot better than I would have in my head. And I don't know if that's just because I just like it's better without thinking, but I think that's something that's really strong, how I can take lead and go through the obstacles and all that as soon as I'm put into the situation. And what is your greatest weakness? My greatest weakness would probably be a limit of restraint. I sometimes I get myself going and there's not really a stop button. Like I just and it's not always a bad thing, but sometimes it can be. Like if I wanted to go do something, I would probably end up doing that until midnight, but like I wouldn't stop for anything, if that makes sense. What have you gained by being a member of FFA? I've gained a lot by being a member of FFA. I've made so many connections with a lot of people in our community. I've gained I I used to be terrified of public speaking, and I've definitely improved on that the most. I couldn't public speak like for the life of me. But I've also gained friends. That's a huge one. I don't think I would have been anywhere as close to as many friends as I have now if it wasn't for FFA. And just skills like from CDEs, like being able to tell the difference between good quality meat and good quality poultry, and how to weld and all that, just like skills that I will actually need in my future. What, wait, let me, what is the greatest challenge the ArkCity FFA chapter faces? Um, I think that the greatest challenge that the FFA ArkCity chapter faces is the limited amount of involved members. I think that we do a good job of recruiting and getting a lot of members in FFA, but I know from the previous years chapter, what are they called, chapter meetings, the 2 monthly chapter meetings, that they are there's not a lot of people involved. Like I can tell by their faces that they're there because they want to be in FFA, but they don't want to actually do any of the things that involve being in FFA. And they just want to, it seems like something that their parents just made them do. You know, it's just something that they don't really want to do, but they did it. And I think that we need to do a better, I think we should strive more to get people to want to be involved and see all the possibilities of what their life could be like with FFA. What 3 words would your best friend use to describe you, and why? I gotta think about that. This is just because of my friend group, but I know the first word would be annoying because of, like I said, my weakness of restriction to stop, and a know-it-all. Yeah, I'm thinking of a specific person. He would definitely describe me as a know-it-all because there's times where I know certain things and I for example, my friend went to the ocean and he said, I wonder how many sharks come up here. And I said, the only shark that would ever get close to the shore is a reef shark, and there's no reefs around here, so there's no way that a shark would be near her. And he just, yeah, he didn't like that. And the second would be persistent, and that would be because of my lack of not being able to stop, but also because whenever I want something or I want something to happen, I go all in and strategize my best way of getting that done, and more likely than not, I usually end up having it done or changed. Sometimes that happens. I change my perspective of what I want to happen, and then I get it to happen. How will you balance being a chapter officer with your non-FFA activities? School, work, church, sports. Okay. So some of my non-FFA activities count as football and work and church. But I know for a fact that me and Miss Bogart have about the same. We have a a youth group at Wednesday every night, and I don't know if she goes to a youth group, but she has a Catholic church thing every night at Wednesday. So I know that she doesn't plan anything, and from the previous years, I've worked around football with my coach because my coach is really supportive of FFA, and he knows that it's something that looks great on a college record, and he wants me to go play for K-State, so he wants me to get into college. But and work, I have a very flexible job. I usually can't work on the weekends because it's only a Monday through Friday job, and I just have to. It's a kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? It is like a probability that's you never really know exactly what's going to happen, because I usually end up after school, I have to call one of my coworkers that's older and doesn't have school, and say, hey, are you guys still working? And do you still have orders that need to be done? And if he says yes, then I can head out after school. But if I have practice or not, then I don't have to go. Or if I have an FFA activity, I just let my boss know, hey, I can't go out to work today, and he's fine with that. What would you do if you had a disagreement with a teammate? So, if I had a disagreement with a teammate, and I don't like to be too passive, and I don't like to be too aggressive, and I don't really like the assertive either. I would use talking in non like a compromise way. That's the word I'm thinking of. I would try to find a compromise. And one of the things that I usually say to people whenever we have a disagreement is just agree to disagree and move on. I don't think that living your life thinking about one disagreement or an argument, even if it's a thing like whether someone's right or wrong, I will openly admit, I don't sometimes like to admit that I'm wrong, but if I know I'm wrong, I will openly admit that I'm wrong, because I don't like to be in disagreement with other people. How important do you feel communication is? And are you a good communicator? I think that communication is very vital. Like, for example, with my work, I have to stay, my boss is my dad, so I know that makes it easier, but working there, I have to let him know what days I'm not going to be in, what days I'm going to be in. My coach is also huge on communication. He says over communicate, which means just if you tell him something that he doesn't even need to know, he'll still be happy about it because he knows that you're just trying to over communicate with him. And I think it should be the same way in FFA. I think communication is key, and it is something to let people know, like, if you can make it to something, if you can't, if you can, if you're not feeling well, or what your opinions are, like, especially over this quarantine right now. Communication is huge with all this. I know Google Hangouts has become my best friend. I have it on every single computer in the house and my phone, and it's just so I can communicate with friends and I know exactly what's going on the outside world. Oh, and are you a good communicator? Yeah, I am a good communicator. I meant to, like, involve that with my, like, I text my dad, and I text all my friends, and I text the FFA advisors, and I text like people like my coach, and well, I email my coach. I don't have his phone number. Why do you want to be a chapter officer? I want to be a chapter officer because I think that it's something that, like, it A of all is a process for me. Like, I can improve in leadership, and I can improve in so many more things being put in a position that forces you to improve. But I also think that I can help other people improve. I think I can help lead people, and I can help them improve in many things. I I can't get into specifics, but, like, for example, as a chapter officer, I could, if someone was practicing a CDE that I've been practicing for 2 years now, like entomology, I've gotten pretty good at entomology, and I can teach them and let them know little tricks, like the difference between a regular beetle and a Japanese beetle, and let them know, like, the subtle differences that I use to get better, so that they can be, if anything, I want them to be better than me at some point. How do you try to get new people involved in FFA? If I am well known with the person that I know is not in FFA, like my brother, for example, he's stubborn and will not join FFA, and I will usually use, like, something that me and him know very well. Like, I'll try to get him to go in FFA because there's girls in FFA or something like that, but I just try to persuade them off of things that I know that they will enjoy in FFA. I also try to show people how much FFA can improve your life, and I also think that FFA is a huge role. Like, I've seen so many videos on social media apps that say school doesn't prepare you for the future, you don't know how to pay taxes. But FFA, you learn skills that do prepare you for the future, like welding and work ethic and public speaking, and all that is all involved in FFA. Thank you for watching my video today, and I hope you consider me to be next year's chapter officers.